Okay. My dogs are going a little crazy. Sorry.
Dogs.
I don't know if you can hear them or not.
I don't think so.
How are you? Good morning. Good afternoon, Good afternoon.
Yes.
So I'm going to share my screen. We'll get right to it.
All right.
Oh, can you enable the screen sharing?
Yep. I need to do that, huh? Here's settings. Sorry.
How is everyone today?
How is everyone today?
Thumbs up.
Thumbs up.
I'm excited. I hope you guys are too. You see some of these props in the background?
Oh yeah. All right. In the how do I do this? The share setting. Did I tried something. Did it
Down
work?
below.
Oh, it's down below. Share screen. Oh, multiple. Sorry. There we go. I haven't used Zoom in a while. All right, we're good.
Hey, I'm just learning, so I'm gonna share my desktop, and good, I can see you guys. There's that, there's me. And then, okay, can you see that right there? I can't, oh yeah. Can you see my Bitmoji?
Yeah.
I just did that the other day, so I'm not done with it yet, but I'm making some links. So for instance, you can click on that and then we can learn about herring. And I did have a video attached to this, but I have to tweak that a little bit. So, but you'll notice in my Bitmoji classroom, there are some tools over here, which we'll go over, and that's a buoy. And this is the lobster trap. So I'll be talking to you about my book, How to Catch a Keeper. I'm Stephanie Mulligan, and I'll introduce myself to you guys a little bit, and then we'll get going to the reading. I didn't know what your school mascot was. Usually I put that on here, but do you have a school mascot?
Yeah. You guys know what it is? Roadrunner. Roadrunner.
Couldn't find it.
I don't even know what it is.
The Roadrunner?
Yeah.
It's so cool. I couldn't find it on the website.
Wait, I know, yeah.
And then I forgot to ask.
That's okay.
So I usually put that on there, but I like to start off with some corny jokes because this helps me to get to know you guys, shake out the nerves a little bit. So why does it take pirates so long to learn the alphabet? Does anyone have a guess?
Gretchen?
Go ahead. I think I see one hand raised. It's a little bit small, but.
She said because they only know R. Is that right?
Oh, that's one answer.
Ooh.
Here's another one. Because they spend years at sea.
Oh, they spend years at sea. That's a good one.
They spend.
We like jokes.
Where does seaweed look for a job? I'll let Mrs. Graham might get this one. I'll give you a hint. What's another name for seaweed? Where does seaweed look for a job?
Bella? The ocean? No. Olivia?
The great guess. In the kelp wanted section.
Wanted.
Okay, I know you're gonna get this next one. I think it's lagging a little bit, so I'm sorry if I'm moving fast.
That's okay, you're fine.
One more. You're gonna get this one.
All right, we can do this, guys. Come on.
What did the ocean say to the shore?
What did the ocean say to the shore? Carly.
I think you guys have heard this one
What did
before.
it say? Water victors? I don't know what's that. Noella? I'm going to cover you up. No, I don't know. Bella? You're looking kind of fishy. Uh-oh. Carly? What do you think?
That's so cute. That's so cute.
I will make you wet.
I will make you wet.
These are great. These are all answers that I could use. So this is the one we came up with. Nothing, it just waved.
Oh,
Do you get it?
That's awesome.
Oh, so we'll move on. A little bit more about me. I grew up in Maine, yay, the most beautiful state. And I got into writing when I was a little girl, your age. I used to write silly poems with my dad, so I've always loved to rhyme words. And I worked on a lobster boat for 8 years, and that was my inspiration for writing How to Catch a Keeper. So this book is all about when I worked on the Lucky Catch in Portland, Maine. And I used to teach 7th and 8th grade, and I've worked with 3rd graders too. One fun fact that some people like to know, I'm married to a professional athlete. So my husband, Matt Mulligan, he played in the National Football League, the NFL, for 9 years. Now, some of you may or may not be into sports or have family members that are into football. So that was pretty neat. And I have 3 children, ages 8, 6, and 4. So that's a little bit about me. And that's a picture of me when I worked on the Lucky Catch. I have another picture where the lobster's actually sitting on my head. But I chose to include that one in the back of my book. And on the cover of How to Catch a Keeper, there is the Portland headlight. Can you raise your paper is that what the paper's for?
Oh, these papers are
they're
they're questions that they have for you if we have time.
Oh, questions. Okay.
Questions, yeah.
So if you just raise your hand if you've been to visit Portland Headlight in Cape Elizabeth, you might recognize it, or you just might remember the name. Oh, we've been to Fort Williams Park or Portland Headlight. Excellent. So that's the headlight that's on the cover. And that headlight was commissioned to be built by George Washington, our first president. And another interesting thing about Portland Headlight, it is the most photographed and painted lighthouse in the entire world. So think about that, how big our world is. It is the most, people have taken the most photographs and painted this lighthouse more than any other lighthouse in the whole world, right here in our beautiful state. And right here down below is the Lucky Catch, which is the name of the red lobster boat that I worked on. And that is where you see all the other fishermen are down there and fisherwomen with their traps. So that's where they park the boat when they're going way out 10, 20 miles out to sea, when it's a working lobster boat. So as I'm reading, I want you guys to keep an eye out for some of these gadgets. For instance, this is the measuring gauge. So when we catch a lobster, we need to measure. Do any of you do any sort of fishing or go fishing with relatives at all? Maybe in the river or the ocean or lake? Great. And this is another tool. This is the banding tool. Let me know if you can tell me what the banding tool is for.
Raise your hand if you know what the banding tool is for. Declan?
It's for strapping bands onto the lobster's claws so it'll pinch you.
Yes. You got it.
Yeah. Look at that, right? We slide it on, we turn, we release our grip, and then we pull away. Then he can't get you. Yeah, I've been pinched. It really, really hurts. So we have some gloves. And these are lobster bibs. This is for a 4-year-old. So these probably wouldn't fit you, but maybe some of you. But those are so adorable. And then also keep an eye out for the bait bag. Because what goes in there? Do you see that? Herring. So we use all different types of bait on the boat, but that's one of the types of bait is the herring. All right, and there's also the bait bucket. Can't forget that.
Ooh, got the bucket.
And we have a trap here in the background. There's a lobster trap. So keep your eyes peeled for that. All right, so I'm going to get started. And I'll hold it up here. Actually, can you see?
Yeah, it's on the.
Can you see
you can see it on the Google slide. Yeah.
Scrolling?
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay.
Yeah.
So I dedicated this book to my husband, Matthew, and my children, Clara, Emmett, and Lena. And I wanted to talk about, when you take the dust jacket off, you can see the whole lighthouse. I wanted to make sure that everyone could get a really good look at that. But these are the end pages. And so if we're putting this buoy on the end pages, it must mean the buoy is pretty important, right? Okay, here we go. Luke and Layla's summer has finally begun, and a trip to the Maine coast is sounding really fun. Out the door they go into the early dawn. Their dad points to the map and begins to ramble on. Summer by the coast is always full of fun. Let's get moving right away and go enjoy the sun. So there's Portland Headlight again, and this is an old Civil War fort, Fort Gorges. And when you get permission, you can go with a group and kayak out there or take a boat when you're allowed to get permission to go out there. There are many ways to play in Maine you're sure to really like. I know of fun spots to explore and islands we can bike. Who's been to Peaks Island? Ever been taking the ferry over to Peaks Island?
That's fun. Charlie went.
I can't see any hands. No?
We had a few.
Okay. Yes. So, I'm going to need to plug in my computer. Whoops. Okay. So this is an aerial view or a bird's eye view up here of Peaks Island. Okay. That's what I meant to do. I'm sorry. There are cruises and museums and lighthouses galore, but I think my favorite is the Lucky Catch tour. So does anyone know what restaurant that is? This is the street down on Commercial Street, the water that runs, the water, the street that runs along the water down in the Old Port in Portland.
You guys know what restaurant?
Alyssa, Mrs. Graham.
I know.
You know it.
Well, because I live in Portland, they said.
What restaurant is that?
DeMillo's. I whispered it.
It's a big DeMillo's. It's a big ferry. It's a big floating ferry. It used to be the Jamestown ferry. What's so great about this tour? Luke and Layla say. Dad says we'll get to ride a lobster boat on this very day. There's the lobster, but it's not red. Why isn't it red?
Why isn't it red? Declan?
Why isn't the lobster red? We always see it's red, right?
Lobsters are red.
He said only cooked lobsters are red.
The other ones are brown.
That's right. Once it's cooked, it turns red. There's so much to learn about lobstering, dears. When Captain Tom speaks, please perk up your ears. This is a hands-on tour, Tom tells everyone. Rain or shine, we'll always have fun. Captain Tom is a real live person. You can meet him someday. You'll need aprons and gloves to protect you from mud. The traps sometimes splash when they land with a thud. On the big red mat, Captain Tom stands where the winch pulls up traps and could injure your hands. Safety first on the Lucky Catch. There's his sweet dog, Sammy, with black and white hair. She listens so well that she's allowed to stand there. It's easy to see that she loves Casco Bay. How excited she gets spotting buoys all day. And this, most of these illustrations are from actual photographs that I took. So Sammy really would try to hang on and bite that trap. Then Luckily, she'd let go, so she wouldn't end up in the water. End up in the big drink. That's what we call it. The buoys with red tops and green stripes around, these all mark the spots where Tom's traps are found. So important that when you're lobster fisherman or fisherwoman, you have a different color buoy than other people you're fishing near. You don't want to haul, meaning you don't want to pick up the wrong buoy. You could get in big trouble. You could get fined a lot of money. Tom says to the crowd, "Step up if you're daring. It's time to fill the bait bags with salty, smelly herring." Would you fill the bait bag?
Did you fill it?
Raise your hand. Would you take a chance to fill the bait bag? Yeah, there's gloves. I'll give you a hint though. The gloves make your hands stinkier than the actual fish.
Gross.
So I would go gloveless.
Yeah.
Layla spies a buoy. It's the right one to snag. Captain Tom grabs his gaff and the winch begins to drag. Tom is first to see the catch. There's a lobster inside to check. He pulls one from the trap that's dripping on the deck. So right here is the winch. Has anyone ever heard of the word winch?
Gretchen has? Winch?
Maybe your parents have used it or a relative has used the winch. Or a winch, sorry. Yep.
You good?
Has any, I didn't know. I thought I saw
sorry.
a hand up.
They did say they have heard of it.
Not all of us though.
Yeah, so you might have it when you get stuck, like, say you're the car, the truck, or your four-wheeler or something. If it gets stuck, a lot of kids say, "Oh yeah, we've used one of those." So you really need to keep your hands away from the winch. This is how the rope is pulled out of the water. Tom has a gaff, a fishing gaff. What he did was he took an old hockey stick and he cut the end off of the hockey stick and he put a hook. So the hook can grab the buoy out of the water. So he doesn't have to bend down and grab the buoy with his hand. He uses the hook to get the buoy. Then he can grab the rope because the rope is attached to the buoy, and then he puts the rope over the winch and the rope is attached to the trap. So because they used to haul the traps by hand. Before this was invented, the fishermen would haul those heavy wooden traps by hand, very heavy. He measures the lobster's carapace from its eye to the start of its tail. Is it the right size to keep? Is it female or male? Raise your hand if you think it's going to be a female.
What do you think? Female? Do you think it's a female? Raise your hand.
And raise your hand if you think it's going to be a male. Oops.
Male?
I'm going to give you a hint. What do you think now? If I show you this illustration, look at all those
What do you think?
thousands. Millions, actually, millions.
Wow.
You're right. It's a female with some eggs. Back in the sea she'll go. But first, he'll notch her tail to let the next fisherman know. So, if it's a mama lobster, and with eggs, they find it with eggs, they'll take this measuring tool, the tip of it, and so it's always the second tail flipper from the right. Look what happened though. My puppy, he ate that. He chewed on the lobster tail. Okay, so it's always the second tail flipper in from the right, and they take this right here and they kind of, it's like clipping your toenails. That's what they equate it to. There aren't any nerve endings, so it doesn't hurt them, so they say. And then there becomes a V notch. When you turn it this way, it looks like the letter V, so they call it the V notch. Then if a lobster fisherman catches that same mama lobster and sees the notch, she goes back in the water so she can produce more babies. So that's something we do in Maine. Not every state does that. See the V notch?
Oh.
There's other sea life in the trap. Sea stars, crabs. Oh. And three.
That's okay.
Kelp. Sorry about that. Shh. Maya, come here. Maya. Okay. The empty trap now needs new bait. The old goes off the side. Hungry seagulls fly above and somehow don't collide. So what are they looking for? There's a lot of times you'll see the lobster boats and the seagulls are hovering all around. What are they looking for?
What are you looking for, Gretchen? Lobsters. You think they're looking for lobsters?
Yeah, they are. And also the stinky old bait. That's what they're waiting for. They love it. The children help to push the trap back into the sea. Hands flat against the trap, Tom says, until I count to 3. So show me your flat hands. So I would know you know how to push it. Flat hands.
Flat hands.
Let me see them. 1, 2, 3, push. Awesome.
Push it in.
You're hired.
All right. Hired.
We have more traps to prep, says Tom, and they'll set for 3 days at least. Let's fill those bags again and hope for a lobster feast. Who's hoping for a lobster feast? I am. I love lobster. How about you guys? Any other lobster lovers?
Raise your hand if you like lobster. If you
I've
don't
loved
like
it since.
It's okay. You can raise your hand if you like it. And if you don't, it's okay.
I love lobster.
Yeah, it's okay if you.
You like it too? No? Okay.
Why do I hand? Where's the hand if you
Uh-oh.
don't like it?
Are you frozen? Oh, man.
You were
Can I
viewing.
say something?
Hold on. Nope.
Hello.
No, she didn't leave. It just got frozen.
I can only do that because my friend Tommy said, you know,
Yeah.
he has this lobster place that he owns, and I get to go on boats, and I get to catch lobsters.
And they do with lobsters.
And
Oh,
one
okay,
time-
good. All right. Thank you.
And then one time I went
Oh,
fishing.
Tell me later.
Hi, sorry about that.
It's okay. It happens. We're used to it, right, guys? How many times did it happen?
Oh, it's okay. I'm not going to share my screen.
Oh, do I have to?
Can you see me? Oh, start video. There we go.
Good. Yeah.
Okay,
I can see you
I'm
now.
on. You're on my phone now because my laptop died.
Her laptop.
So I'll just hold it. We're almost there. Okay, this is really sweet. Can you guys see?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, that seal was actually smiling.
Oh, my goodness.
Okay. Now Tom steers the Lucky Catch over by Seal Rock, where seals rest with cormorants amongst a seagull flock. So, I wanted to talk about these black birds. They're one of the deepest diving birds in the world. They can dive down 90 feet. So, and they're missing a certain oil gland. So that's what they're doing. They're drying their wings out because they're missing the gland that would normally help them keep their wings dry in the water. So that's what they're doing. They're drying them out.
Yeah.
2 more traps, another lobster. Watch those claws and legs. This one is a keeper. It's a female without eggs. The pincer or pincher and crusher claws will certainly need bands. The kids can use the banding tool, even with small hands.
And one interesting thing about the claws, so a lobster can be right clawed or left clawed, just like you might be right-handed or left-handed primarily. So the crusher claw is the bigger one that crushes and grinds the food. So that could be on the left or the right. And then the pincer claw, the thinner one, it shreds and tears the food. Here's Luke with the keeper. It's a good sized one. He poses for a photo and says, "This was really fun." Tom drives the boat back in. A crew member gathers the gear. The kids run up the ramp and say, "Let's come back next year." But you're really not supposed to run up the ramp. So don't run up the ramp. I realized that after I wrote, like, oh, I probably should. I said safety first, and I'm having the kids run right up the ramp. But then the parent said, "No running." So, and then there's a little glossary in the back, just going over all the terms that we learned today. There's my picture with the silly picture with the lobsters. This is my illustrator, Connie Rand. So she's a wildlife artist. Do any of you like to draw pictures of animals or nature?
Mm-hmm.
That's how Connie started out, drawing pictures of deer and moose and birds, any animals in Maine. And then I asked her if she would illustrate my book. And there's Captain Tom. And Sammy. Sammy passed away, but I wanted to include her in the book because she was there when I worked there. So there's that. And then these are some of our other books. So I run the publishing company. I'm a book creator. I make books. So these are some of the other ones that I've made. This one's coming out soon, Journey of the Sea Glass. Might have seen some of those around. And I really wanted to answer questions, but it goes by so fast.
I know.
If you do have questions, I'd love to be able to answer them. If they have them, you could email me or.
Yeah, we can definitely, we can write them down and
wonderful.
We can email them to you. Okay. And
yeah, I'd love that.
Awesome.
Well, thank you. You guys have been so great. I hope you enjoyed it. I know it went by fast.
It did go by really fast. That was awesome. Thank you. Say good
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Good job to you guys.
Bye, Stephanie.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.